This week, we're venturing back into the Mulu National Park to visit Deer Cave, one of the largest cave passages on Earth. From its jaw-dropping entrance to the millions of bats that call it home, this natural wonder is like nothing you've ever seen, so stay tuned and let's explore. So I am soon going to be heading off back to the Mulu National Park to go to the Deer Cave. The Deer Cave is the world's second largest cave system after a recently discovered one in Vietnam, and it's so called Deer Cave because sambar deer, which are native to this part of Borneo, are often seen going into the cave to lick the rocks that have got high salt content from the droppings of bats. And that's the second reason I'm going. It's home to an estimated 1 million bats. There are 14 bats in the cave system. Some of them are not found anywhere else in the world. So there's bats including the cave nectar bat, the greater sheath-tailed bat, the horseshoe bat, the Philippine horseshoe bat, the roundleaf bat, the Dayak roundleaf bat, the diadem roundleaf bat, the lesser bent-wing bat, and the wrinkle-lipped bat, to name some of them, along with rhinoceros hornbills, which are endemic to this part of Borneo, the bearded pig, sun bear, gibbons, and something called a troglobiont freshwater crab in the waters of the cave. I think we'll be lucky if we see many of those, but I'm filming this now in my hotel before leaving because at around 6 p.m. at night, if it isn't raining, and it is forecast rain, so I'm not quite sure what will happen, but if it isn't raining, then there's an exodus of bats from Deer Cave that creates a black mist in the air as they leave, which should be a special sight to see if we see it. But to get to the cave and the viewing platform for the bats, it's around a 2-mile walk along wooden walkways in 90% humidity, and the temperature is currently 37, predicted to go to 38 in an hour's time. So I might be a sweaty mess by the time I get to the bath, but I'm sure it'll be worth it. So we will head off to the national park now. Hopefully there's a transfer from the hotel available at this time. So there's a sign that says complimentary shuttle service, but when you ask anyone to arrange it, there's some confusion as to what you're asking for. So I'm hoping one turns up soon, otherwise I'll miss the start of the tour to the Deer Cave. So I've just asked at the reception for the transfer, and it went from 5 minutes to maybe 15 minutes, and now it's maybe 20 minutes. I have 25 minutes to get there before the tour starts without me, and I now can't walk there in time. So I hope this thing turns up soon. So let me tell you about the transfer from the Marriott Hotel to the National Park entrance. It didn't leave until 2 minutes before I needed to be here. So I got into the park office at about 2:15. The tour should have started at 2. but a lot of people were waiting around for half an hour, and we ended up starting late anyway, so luckily the tour was delayed, otherwise I would have missed it, because the hotel front desk couldn't decide when the transfer was leaving, which is not great for a 5-star hotel. I've seen the Marriott transfer bus going past when I've walked back and forth from the hotel quite a few times, so they've definitely got more than one.
The deer come and drink this river, okay? Because this river is contain a lot of nutrients, because it's from the guano and the insect that fall into this river. So this river tastes a little bit salty. You want to try? Okay, so that's why the deer love it. Okay, so now the deer run away.
As soon as you walk through the entrance of Deer Cave, you can see millions on millions of different insects crawling along the back guano on the floor. You've got cockroaches scavenging on back guano, dung beetles, cave crickets with their long legs hunting for smaller creatures in the dark to eat, whip spiders hunting insects, springtails, the tiny blind insects that only live in the cave and feed on fungi, glowworms and parasitic bat flies. I know not everyone likes insects, I hate them, so going into this cave was a feat of bravery for me, and having to walk so close to them along the pathway was terrifying, I think is probably the word I would use, and the noise is horrific. The Deer Cave is by far the biggest cave in Borneo, the second biggest in the world. It's over 2 kilometers long and measures 174 meters wide and 122 meters high at its largest point. It is home to millions of bats, hundreds of millions of insects, and the odd deer that wanders through to lick the salty rocks that the bat guano and the water have created. So as you get deeper into the cave, the roof gets a lot lower and you can hear the screeches and whistles of swifts and bats that live in the cave. When you get to the narrowest part of the cave, the noise becomes deafening.
So you can see some hole in the ceiling. This is what we call a bell hole. Normally bell hole is a home for the bats and the swiftlets. Sometimes they shade a hole like this one. You can see the example. There is some bird nest at the hole, and sometimes the bats also roosting at the top of the hole. You can see there's some. Oh, it's really flying. There's some tiny bats roosting also inside the bell hole. Yeah. Alright, so when you see this dripping point, yeah, the one that grow in the ceiling we call a stalactite, and the one from the ground is stalagmites. Alright, For stalactite or stalagmite to form, it takes 100 to 200 years for a cube centimeter. Yeah. When they're connected together, we call this column. You can see there is an example behind you. Alright, so this is the famous formation here. This is the jellyfish formation, or it's called flow stone. And you can see the one that on the ceiling, on the top of you, this is we call as cave curtain. Yeah, cave curtain. Yeah. All the formation inside the cave. You can see some nestling inside the nest. Yeah.
In this hole in the ceiling, you can see some tiny swiftlets.
Cave is swiftlets. Ini dua kali sederhana. Ada perubahan kan?
What you can see here are called actinomycetes. They're a fungi-like bacteria that dangles from the cave ceilings. They grow on bat guano and that creates the nutrients to grow.
Baru ya. Kurang kuat. Oh, pakai.
We weren't able to see them today, but in the water that was running alongside the pathway, there are tiny cave crabs and blind albino fish that also live in this cave. Every so often you'll be able to hear a chirp or a squeak from a bat that is flying around the cave, and sometimes you'll be able to hear the tweeting of the swifts that are flying overhead trying to catch flies. Coming up now is probably the most famous rock formation. Can you see the face of Abraham Lincoln? On the roof of the cave are these black patches that you can see. In this one black patch alone, there are apparently 10,000 bats getting ready to fly out of the cave a few hours later. As we got deeper and deeper into the cave, the smell of bat guano became increasingly, well, it made it difficult to breathe. It was really strong. The smell was horrific. Even covering your mouth and nose, you could still smell it. It was that strong. And when we went inside the enclosed parts of the cave, it became unbearable that some people in this group had to walk back and leave so they could breathe for a few minutes. Sorry about the lack of light in this part of the video. If it's bad on video, imagine what it's like when you're trying to walk along a really slippery bat guano wet wooden walkway with a rope that you definitely don't want to put your hands on because it's covered in insects and bat guano. We will be coming to a light soon, so stay tuned and don't turn it off because your screen is almost black. The light that you can see coming through here is quite a recent addition to the cave. The roof of the cave in one part collapsed. There used to be two caves connected here, but now the ceiling of the cave collapsed, so the entrance to the other cave and the river is now blocked in this part. In a lot of parts of this cave, you'd be forgiven for thinking you were walking on the moon. There were rock craters of all shapes and sizes, strange colours on the floor, alien formations on the walls. It was definitely a sight to behold, even if the smell was horrific. At the end of the tour, everyone was allowed to walk back on their own without the guide. I might have taken a wrong turning and got a little bit lost in the world's second biggest cave system. This is not the way that everyone else was walking. Or when I turned around, there was nobody else following me. So I might have taken the long way out of the cave, and I didn't think it could happen, but the smell became even worse in this part of the cave. So guys, that was the deer cave here in Mulu National Park. The smell was horrendous from the bat guano, and there were bugs and creepy crawlies and even a huntsman spider crawling around. But it's definitely worth a visit if you come to this part of Malaysia. Now we go back and we wait for the bats to emerge en masse from this cave, and hopefully we can get that on film too. So I waited for about 2 hours. There's a wooden seating area outside of the cave, but the bats definitely did not disappoint today, making the formations in the sky coming out of the cave. There were lots and lots of them coming out. Apparently there were 1 million came out. It was the biggest showing for a long time, waving in the sky. Everyone needs to stay connected, whether you're here in the jungles of Borneo or here in the middle of the desert or here in the middle of a city or on a remote island in the South Pacific. Maya Mobile can keep you connected with lots of different SIMs to choose from countries around the world, reasonable prices to suit every budget, and helpful and friendly customer services. Maya Mobile can keep you connected wherever you are in the world. So click the link in my description below. It doesn't cost you any extra, but Maya Mobile can make sure you're connected wherever you are, whenever you travel, and whatever you're doing. So check out Maya Mobile. Now back to the video. So folks, that is the end of my time in the Mulu Caves and Mulu National Park. And in Mulu, tomorrow morning after breakfast, I leave to Kota Kinabalu for one night, and then we fly from there to the deep jungles of Borneo. So make sure you subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the bats. This was one of the best shows for months apparently. An estimated 900,000 to 1 million bats appeared tonight alone. And they will be feeding on the mosquitoes tonight. So hopefully I don't get bitten. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I am out of breath and need to sit down, but I have another maybe hour walk back to the hotel, where I need some food, and then I'll probably just collapse on the bed. But please subscribe, like the channel, tell everyone about the channel, and make sure you don't miss some really great videos coming up. So until then, thanks for watching. Bye everyone. Still going, and it started to rain heavily. We must nearly be there now. Either that or I'm lost in the forests of Borneo.